Hi folks. Listen, I want to start this wee video with a possible trigger warning. Um, it's going to be talking about subjects including childhood abuse, sexual abuse, and rape. So please feel free if this is something that could potentially trigger you, or something that you is just not right for you or too distressing. Please just switch off. Um, Now, as a lot of you'll know, I tend to um, have opinions and stand up for quite a lot of what I believe in, where and when I can. But I like to think that I try and do it as respectfully as possible, and not about a blaming situation, more of a solution, trying to find solutions, trying to hold the right people to account. Um, and I just really wanted to kind of talk about some of the stuff that I've been reading and seeing, and I've actually had to switch off from, as following the absolute tragic loss of Sarah Everard and everything that's come along with it. There just seems again to be so many different issues spiraling from such a painful and tragic situation, and all which are valid. But I just kind of want to put my own thoughts out there, and because it's an issue that I think is really quite important, and I've been really quite concerned with. I wanted to just kind of talk to you a wee bit about it. And as some of you'll know from, if you're a friend of mine, or you've followed the page, or the info on the website, I myself was a victim of whatever kind of terminology people want to use, childhood sexual trauma. It was utterly horrendous. It happened most of my life, and when my daughters were little, huge alarm bells and huge triggers were going off, and I just knew that it was time to take a stand. And my sister and I were the first of almost 4 generations to stand up and hold this person to account. And it was utterly horrendous. It really was. And I have seen so many comments about men, about what men should be doing, about male violence towards women, about men being more aware, curfews on men, men crossing the road, rather than worry about a woman being scared. So many different things, and again, update of their own. I'm not going to comment. I don't think it's necessarily you're right, I'm wrong. I think we're too busy looking at this, that it's got to be a right and a wrong. You being right doesn't mean that the other person's wrong either. We all have our truth, we all have our experience, and we all have our opinions, and we're all entitled to those opinions, good and bad. What I want to kind of say is that this is something, this has been rape, and how it is treated and how women are treated, has been an issue for decades, for centuries even, and it's not okay, and lessons have to be learned. And my own experience is that the system, even when you report such a trauma, such a heinous crime, the system itself, in my own experience, is like being raped or abused all over again and again and again. When I was in the witness box, when my sister and I held our grandfather to account, we lost a lot. Most of our family don't speak to us anymore and hold us in blame and all this sort of stuff. Whole other story. But we did it because it had to come to an end, and this person had to be held accountable before he died, because it was generational abuse, as we found out, after the sort of court case. And when I was in the witness box, I was in the witness box first, and every single factor other than my grandfather was the cause of him abusing me. What I wore, being 4, 5, 6 and upwards, what I wore, the fact that my parents put me in a dress, the fact that my sister didn't protect me, the fact that I kept going up to see him, the fact that I didn't stand up to my parents and tell them that I wasn't going to get a cup of sugar or to get the papers or whatever it was, that because they only lived 8-10 doors away. Every single thing was flung there other than him, and what he was to blame. The murderers that murder are to blame. The rapists that rape are to blame. The abusers that abuse are to blame. There's other factors that come into play, but ultimately the total accountability and responsibility lies with the perpetrators. And far, far too often, victims are getting blamed, survivors are getting shamed, and people are getting labelled all over the place. Now, whatever your thoughts are, I know some wonderful, wonderful men, and I've got beautiful nephews, and whether people are very good at saying you're missing the point, you're missing the point. It was the same with the Black Lives Matter movement, when people are saying all lives matter, oh, you're missing the point. No, we're not missing the point. Everybody is seeing different things and taking the different interpretations of things. It doesn't mean you're right, I'm wrong. You can be right and I can be right. That's our truth. It's how we see it. It's how we take it. Who is anybody to invalidate what we think or how we feel or how someone else feels? Because we are technically shaming men for being men, when it was the rapist, it was the policeman, it was the perpetrator, it was the individual, whatever situation it's been, mine, Sarah's, yours, anybody else's out there, the person is accountable. The person that chose to go out and do that to someone, they are responsible. Not all men, not all women, not all old people, in my case, not all old men. It's such a tarring. We're tarring everybody with the one brush, and men sitting feeling ashamed. Young men sitting thinking, is this what people think? I'm actually getting told that I need to be aware of this and I need to be aware of that, and I need to, in case I upset somebody across the road, and that silly woman saying there should be a curfew, no men out after 6 o'clock. Come on, people. What is going on? I really just don't get it. And I'm somebody that's went through it and faced it head on and been assaulted when I was older as well. It's the system. You report it and you go to the system, and the system assaults you all over again. And that's where a lot of the problem is. Why are we keeping a portion and blame everywhere else? That person went out to do that. That doesn't mean that all people are the same. And honestly, I suppose that's what this message and this hope of my wee message is that people stop and think, and that we stop invalidating everybody all over the place, that they don't understand something. They can understand it and still be upset by it. still be hurt by it, still feel shame, still, who are you to tell anybody how they should feel about anything, or to belittle them that they don't understand? We all take things different ways, and no one has any right to invalidate someone. You don't get your point across more by making someone else feel worse. What happened to me and my sister, and tragically too many others, was fully landed at the feet of my grandfather. And thankfully for us, he was found guilty in all accounts. Like I said, it was a horrendous situation, and we lost lots, but we gained a lot as well. And we did it because our daughters deserved a safe life. They deserved to be protected. They deserved to grow up. Well, my sister's got 3 boys. I don't have boys, but it was to protect our children. It was so that our generation realised, no, the buck stops here. This is just not okay. People turning a blind eye is not okay. People standing up and being counted, people have to speak out, but that doesn't mean that I have to blame everybody else and belittle them to get my point across. What we did because it was unjust, and it just wasn't okay, and it had to be, the person had to be held to account, because the fear and the scaremongering and the threats couldn't go on any longer. And like I said, we certainly did it for our families, that our families were protected, that our families wouldn't be ruined by this horrible monster and this horrible unhealthy mentality. But we didn't blame everybody else because of it. It stopped with him, and he was the one that was held accountable. It's a system. The system has to change as well. The system has to support women. The system has to question defence, prosecutors, whatever, I always get mixed up, when they're stepping out of line. When a woman is, indicating to someone like myself that we deserved it, that we asked for it because we were 5 and we had a dress on and we were given them easy access. Really, if we had put trousers on, it wouldn't have happened. Honestly, and that's just the surface of it. I wouldn't even go into all the detail because it's like I said, it's utterly horrendous. And while it can be difficult to talk about, and people will have all different opinions of the video, of whatever, this isn't about attention seeking. This isn't about sympathy. This isn't about any of that crap that gets linked to people standing up and linked to people speaking out, because that's all just shite. The reality of the situation is abuse, rape, murder, all of these things are not okay, and neither is shouting out and blaming everybody else for it. We have to see, if we want to learn lessons, we have to direct the blame where it is. We have to look for the solutions in the right places, and blaming everybody and tarring everybody with the same brush is not the way to do it. So yeah, I know I've ranted on, and I've probably gone off tangent at times, but do you know what? It's not a dress rehearsal. It's just, I just wanted to speak from the heart and how it comes out, and to say we do matter, and everybody has a story, and that's where You Matter always came from. Sorry, because people need to know. People need to know that they're important. They need to know that they matter. They need to not be shamed for being human. All of these things are so important. We need to raise our daughters and our sons to know right from wrong, to be accountable, but to realise that they are not the fault. Yes, we're part of society, and society has to learn lessons, but our children have a right to be safe, to be protected, men and women. You know, all the stuff about women being scared walking at night. Do you know, boys are too, children are too. We might be fearing something different. I could be worried about getting jumped and about getting attacked and getting raped. Somebody else could be worrying about getting an absolute doing, or whatever people want to say. The point is, it's an either or. It's not a right and wrong. It's just something that needs to change. It's about looking for solutions. It's about getting a system improved rather than people hating on people all the time, because it doesn't get us anywhere. All it does is creates more hate. There's no point. It's not getting anybody anywhere when actually a system hasn't changed, hasn't evolved, and the system needs to get better at protecting people. The system needs to deal tougher sentences. So, as always, feel free to let me know your thoughts, and I'm sure, like I said, we all have different opinions, and that's fine. That's what makes the world go round. We're depending on what we've experienced, what we know, what we've all different factors anyway, and we all have different opinions, and that's okay. What is not okay is totally invalidating some people's opinions because we think ours is right. Okay, so thank you for your time, and just please remember that we all have a story, and our story matters, and our life matters, and take care. Thank you so much. See you later. Bye bye.